performance.
Well, you know, when it comes to the economy, we've got a lot more work to do, and we're going to keep on at it. Quoted from current President Barack Obama, Michael and I, as the negative side, are supporting the stopping of one of America's biggest problems. Back in September of 2008, when the recession was in the early stages of its destruction, we as a country experienced the biggest single-day slump of the stock market in the history of the United States. A couple days later, NASA made $1 million discovery. On October 2nd, 2008, for $85 million, NASA finally figured out the exact brownness of the sun. About 3 years later, we are still facing the issue of unemployment and homelessness. The resolution resolved that the United States federal government should substantially increase space exploration through unmanned space travel is clearly not in America's best interest due to the overwhelming economic problems in our society today. The negative defines unmanned as not having or needing a crew or staff, and substantially as to a great extent, both taken from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. This means the affirmative's version in today's debate is to propose an economically viable, practical, and of course a desirable plan that greatly increases space exploration through unmanned missions. Since our current space program is sufficient as it is, and because of the ridiculous cost of increasing space travel, we stand in negation of the resolution. First, we believe that NASA's current pace of unmanned mission is completely fine. Having already sent at least 100 unmanned missions to explore a wide spectrum of our solar system, additional missions seem far too redundant. Mars, the Moon, asteroid, the Sun, and many other planets are on the still growing list of explored places, and to increase missions would prove to be excessive. According to NASA, the space agency is currently managing 65 robotic space probe missions, and 40 more are still in development. Ranging from the Earth to distant planets, these probes are planned to cover a vast majority of the solar system, as well as exploring many more aspects of our universe. Quite simply, the increase would simply be too much to handle. The history of NASA's management has not always been as precise as the field in which they deal. In creating more plans, projects, robots, and more would only reduce the effectiveness and possibly even the seriousness of these missions, as more probes would perhaps reduce the significance of each individual robot and lead to carelessness. Many examples support that NASA has countless failures that usually end up costing millions of dollars and a number of lives. This includes the devastating explosion of Space Shuttle Columbia that was reported by the New York Times as a result from a failure of NASA management. Second, NASA's budget has already been on decline due to the recession we're in, and to increase the number of unmanned missions without cutting out other important aspects of NASA, such as research or manned missions, would be devastating to the economy. NASA's budget is now little under $18 trillion, which has to be split up into various branches of NASA, such as research, engineering, and of course manned missions. A small but vital part of NASA. The typical unmanned mission costs about $300 million to finish, from start to finish, and the newer probes have only gotten more expensive. Two new programs called Voyager and Mars rover programs cost $850 million each, about 3 times more than the average. These space adventures are supposedly going to answer questions about our universe, yet typically they just bring about more questions and more problems. As a negative, we strongly agree that this extra money should be used to solve our current problems. Homelessness, poverty, diseases, and many other things plague our country. The United States should be obligated to help its citizens. More specifically, cancer has been a problem and will always be a problem unless we can find a cure. Lung cancer kills 1.3 million people annually, and will continue doing so until it can be stopped. That being said, the Voyager and Mars rover program that were previously mentioned could fund lung cancer research in the United States for over 6 years. Although this money is not necessarily being wasted by the American government, aiding the people that live inside the borders of this country should be prioritized before supporting the people outside the borders of the planet. The resolution states, resolved that the United States federal government should substantially increase space exploration through unmanned space travel. And we believe that although space travel is important, the current amount of money that is invested in it is sufficient for a public association where the funds all come from taxes and government spending. We believe that trying to increase space exploration to a point where we cannot efficiently manage and handle it is not an effective use of government money. By putting more of the hard-earned money of the American people into an organization that can promise no tangible benefits in any time frame, can no aid be defined as useful, and for all these reasons and more, I urge you to vote negative.